Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today, we're discussing one of the most talked about watches of the 2021 model year. This is the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Explorer, reference 124273 in two-tone yellow gold and 904L stainless steel. It's 36 millimeters in diameter, and it has an 11.5 millimeter thickness. If we measure just the case, lug to lug, it's 43.3 millimeters. If we measure end link to end link, then the total horizontal distance across the wrist is 45.2 millimeters, and it has a 19 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We're going to throw this watch on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, get a sense of how it fits. Taking a quick look on my wrist, it's actually a great match. The 36 wears beautifully. Today it would be considered a unisex size, but back in the 1940s and 50s, this was considered one of the larger sizes for Rolex watches, as Explorers, Oyster Perpetuals, and Date Justs and Date 8s were extensively manufactured in the 36 millimeter size, at the time almost exclusively for male consumption. Now today on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, you can see this watch is a good fit, but it's also suitable for smaller wrists, and women will find it compatible with wrists as small as 13 centimeters circumference, so truly a unisex watch by 2023 standards. Taking a look at it in profile, it's fairly flat with a conical sloped bezel, so it will fit underneath a dress cuff, and you can see I have plenty of clearance on each side of my wrist. The bracelet is an Oyster style. You can see that it has a conforming end link to join it to the case with a coherent integrated look. We have a taper to the links. You can see that the links at center are polished yellow gold. The shoulders and steel are satinated, but their flanks are polished. You can see that we have screws fixing removable links on both sides of the clasp. The clasp features a easy link 5 millimeter snap-in, snap-out tool-free adjustment system. And if you look internally, you can see that there are 3 divots drilled with little tracks leading into them. That's a spring bar divot system. So with your strap tool, you can actually move the anchoring point of the bracelet in the clasp to fine-tune the fit. Now you can see that this is a more sporting type of Oyster clasp, as it features both the spring-loaded beacon hook lift lock system. You can see that lift lock latches there, and then it also has the clamshell lock. This little kerf underneath the crown so you could dig your nail in and pry it open. It is a two-tone clasp with polished gold, satin steel, and in profile polished steel. Rolex has its own foundry. It makes its own alloys. It builds its cases, bracelets, and clasps. So Rolex smelts its own gold, and it makes a grade of steel that's uncommonly used in the watch industry called 904L. It's a high nickel content steel that is more resistant to corrosion in the face of sweat, sea salt, and certain industrial acids. So for example, you don't need to rinse it after exiting the sea. Now we have a twin lock crown in yellow gold, you can see, because 2 dots means that it is a twin lock in gold. It is a screw down. We have a solid steel case back. The combination of the two and the distinctive Oyster case, which has been around since 1926, they give the watch 100 meters of water resistance. We have a gold clasp center links, bezel, and crown. The dial also features 18-karat yellow gold hands, numerals, and indices. We have an Explorer-style dial, no date, with tri-Arabics at 3, 6, and 9. The dial base is black lacquer. We have all of these gold features on the dial because they won't tarnish, fade, or oxidize over time. We'll do a quick lume shot here and get a sense of how the watch looks in the dark. Rolex makes its own lume. It's called Chromalite, and it is bright blue. You can see all 3 hands are lumed, a feature I like to see on sports watches. Underneath the dial, we have Rolex manufactured caliber 3230. Bidirectional automatic winding. The rotor now includes a ball bearing rather than the old jeweled staff. It's a 70-hour power reserve. It beats weight 8 beats per second, pivots on 31 joules. It has a hacking or stop seconds function. The movement is a certified Swiss chronometer that Rolex then cases up and tests in 6 positions as a full watch to run no worse than -2 + 2 seconds per 24 hours. That is the basis for their claim that this is a superlative chronometer. The balance bridge is dual anchored, 1 bridge element anchored on each side. side to make it more shock tolerant. The free-sprung balance serves that end, shock resistance, but also makes it easier to precisely adjust the watch. It has a handmade Breguet over coil hairspring, so in pretty much any position with respect to gravity on your wrist or your nightstand, it will keep consistent time. And that overcoil is made of a blue oxidized niobium zirconium alloy Rolex calls Parachrom Blue that is highly anti-magnetic. So it's water resistant, shock resistant, and anti-magnetic. Rolex also makes the Paraflex shock absorbers on the movement. This is a feature rarely made in-house at watch brands. It even makes its own lubricants for this watch, so your watch is all Rolex. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.